probably be some time between 7 and 7:30. We could skip ahead
I'm just asking. It's up to you guys.
when you're ready. Yeah, let's work on that. Oh, let's see. Pino, do you want to go over the rules for us?
Yep. All right, so just some virtual notations. So, all right, this is obviously a Zoom meeting. The Zoom link and the call-in number on our agenda, which is posted on the website. This meeting will be recorded via Zoom by RCTV, and it's also possible that this will be live streamed or broadcast on RCTV as well. I will let people in via the waiting room. We ask that everyone mute themselves at all times unless you're acknowledged to speak by the chair. And also applicants should unmute themselves at the time if they're giving any presentations. We ask that people only use the chat feature for technical reasons and not use the chat for private conversations. This could be a violation of open meeting law. And we also ask that you raise your hand, use the raise hand feature to alert the chair if you want to speak. And just some procedural stuff. All votes will be conducted as a roll call by the chair. And occasionally I'll be sharing my screen to present pictures and other documents.
Thanks, Pino. If you'd like to put up the documents for the Santel House, front door and screen door, we can, I know Linda and Donna are both here. If you wanted to just maybe recap what you're hoping to do with to replace the new front door at the Santel House. Oh, awesome. So there's the existing door, if I'm right.
Yes. Yes. So the door is very old, obviously, and it has quite a bit of rot. So we're looking to replace it with a mahogany 6-panel, very similar to what's there now. The hardware that is on that door will be taken off, cleaned up, and put onto the new door. And then we'll add, we're hoping to add a storm door on top of that to protect the door. The storm door will also be mahogany.
Yeah, could you want to show us those two images from the catalog? That was really helpful for me to just picture what was going to go in.
Great.
And I was going to ask, like Virginia, I don't know much about storm door history. I imagine it wasn't a common thing for a long time, but when they did come into play, is there a common style?
I believe there was a storm door at one point on that door. So I was told.
Gotcha. Do you know anything about storm doors that you'd like, or anything else you want to comment on, Virginia? Oh, you're on mute still. You're still on mute.
There I go.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. In the early days, the storm doors would have been made of slab wood or not paneled. They would have just been boards nailed together. However, I think it's great that they're looking for a door replacement that is of a good quality, and I hope it's replicating the 6-panel door that is extant now. And the screen door would be quite compatible in my mind for such a use. Thank you.
And the drawing here that Pino's sharing with us, it looks like the plan is to have screen in the top or glass in the top, and then and is that looks like would be compatible, Virginia?
Yes, the only issue becomes when the glass builds up so much heat with the sun that it will be problematic in the longevity of the door that is being replaced. And I would also recommend that I'm not sure if that's an original door or one that has stood the test of time, but at any rate, I hope that they would store that profile and the actual door someplace so that future owners could replicate it in kind if they chose to.
We can do that.
Amelia?
Linda, what about the side lights? What are you doing with those? Are those staying? You're replacing them?
No, we replaced some of the cedar around them, but that is done.
So it's going to look like it looked like in that
Yep.
photograph.
Yes.
Okay.
Could you maybe show us the door? Just so we could all look at that for a minute. And does anyone else have any comments about the plans? Except besides Willow here. Jonathan?
I defer to Willow first, of course. Depending on what she has to say, I guess. But no, I just wanted to thank the applicants for providing the design information. That was extremely helpful, and I concur with Virginia's comments. The door looks to be an exact replica, and the screen, I think, is important, even though it may not have been there originally, or a screen originally, or storm door originally. And I think it looks good, and I'm delighted to see both. My only question was, I remember somewhere, maybe you just heard it tonight, that they were going to use the existing hardware. Is that correct? Or are they using hardware? I think there was hardware shown on the design that we saw, but I think they said they were going to use the original hardware.
Yes, that is the plan.
Great. Thank you.
Is the group ready to vote on our approval or not of the replacement door and storm door? Oh, if
me to
there's
make a
any other
motion?
comment first, Jonathan?
No, if everybody was all set, I would make the motion.
Yeah. Oh, go for it.
Okay, I would move that we approve the design plans proposed for 320 Haverhill Street, the Santel House, specifically relating to the replacement of the door with the mahogany door as shown, and with the addition of the storm door as shown, and including, as the applicant has proposed, to include the original hardware.
I'll second it. Tell
A
us when
little
you're
long, my
ready.
apologies, Amelia.
Yeah. Tell us when you're ready. All set? All right. I'll go through the roll. So I'll say Amelia first.
Yes.
Okay, and Charlene. Oh, and Pino,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So that's a 5-0 in favor of the replacement of the door. So thanks very much for getting us those plans. It really helps a lot to see something. and
Absolutely.
All discuss and
Yeah.
I think it's going to look great.
Great. Well,
Thank you all for
very
your
much.
consideration.
I appreciate it. And we have, we're hoping to do some painting inside, so I'm assuming that's something that I'll need to, I think you'll be seeing me again. Will I get approval for that?
Do we need approval for that, John? The interior?
I did not look at it depends on what the agreement says. I didn't look at it this evening, but I can take a look at it and then just
That would be
follow up with them if you want. I don't recall, unless Virginia, do you recall?
I don't believe there's much on the interior.
Yeah, my recollection is the exterior, but I'll confirm with you if you
Okay.
like.
All right, great. Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
All right, thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right.
Right. That's good. Let's see. We have 20 minutes from the scheduled plan of to talk about 94 Salem Street. Does anyone mind if we just had our discussion about the demo delay review first? Will that work for you, Carlo?
Yeah, that'd be great. Have another meeting. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But we've had this on the agenda just as even just kind of doing some research and just seeing how other towns do their demo delays and how successful they are at saving some historic structures. And so it's just something we tend to talk about the process and how we're doing compared to other towns. How we let people know about the historic inventory and let them know they have a historic house that's important to the town. That sort of is what has been what we've been discussing under this agenda item.
Yeah, I've been reading over the minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
see that. Thank you.
Yeah, does anybody have anything new to share or new stats or anything that's come up?
I did not.
I have nothing else. I know. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. What questions do you have, Carla?
Was there an applicant or something that prompted you to look at this again, since it was voted by town meeting, years ago?
I think we noticed that the last, is it 6 out of 7 or quite a few homes that were on the inventory that have had hearings come up have all been taken down. So we're trying to look at ways to slow down the loss of some of these historic homes.
And do you feel, no, I can appreciate that. Do you feel that the extra 6 months in these particular cases would have saved the homes?
Not necessarily, but that's one thing we were wondering, like, does the amount of the towns that have a longer delay period have more success, or there are other towns doing other things maybe that are helping to save homes that aren't related to a demo delay. So I don't know that we found anything outside of the demo delay. Amelia, do you remember? Can you recall
What's-
roughly what other
What's the
towns
question?
do? Oh, what are I know you looked at what other towns were.
Right, most
Right.
towns in the Commonwealth that have delays are longer than ours. Mass Historical Commission recommends 12 months. Most houses that come up from delay are lost. Fewer houses were lost in the time when the delay was 12 months than when it has been 6 months before or after. We started, well, I think we're about to lose the house at what's the one that the guys
16 Eaton?
16 Eaton, right? So the concern is that people seem to be waiting out the delay, and then we have no leverage to even get them to include architectural features of the old house in the new house. We've also lost a bunch of houses to developers. There was one house on Grove Street, 24, Virginia, was that right?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
Tibbet House,
Mhm.
where we tried to be a little more proactive and tried to sort of shake the trees with some newsletters and in one case, an article in a national publication that this house could be adopted if people were interested. And there were quite a few people who, it didn't end up going to somebody, but there was interest, was there not, Jonathan?
Yes, there was. There were 2, maybe 3 people that I remember speaking to myself.
Yeah. So the hope is that if the demo delay were longer, that more effort would be taken to save the house, that the developer wouldn't just sit on it for the 6 months and then tear it down anyway. And yeah, so we're just kind of looking at what other towns do, what success we've had in the past, and when we have been unsuccessful, and thinking about, is this something that we want to at some point bring to town meeting?
Thank you. You referenced most. How many towns have a 6-month?
Not all. I would have to look up the statistics and I could send you that. Not all towns have a demo delay. the majority of towns in the Commonwealth do. And the majority of those have demo delays, which are 9 months or longer, and including Milton, I think, that has 24 months. And we're talking, I did see, I think Erin just chatted something there. We're talking about single family houses. So the additional efforts is, could we get the demo delay to be longer? And then would we be able to participate in or encourage the applicant to try harder to find someone else to take the house instead of demolishing it to make way for new construction? So that's, Erin, is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah. Go ahead, Carla.
Actually, my first, may I speak?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's your turn.
So I'm Erin Calvabacci. So my first question, what I was asking is the houses that came down and then the houses that were built, the new structures, are they single families or are they multi?
Single families.
They're all single families. And then my question in regards to the additional efforts that would the historical commission take, because what I'm hearing is you're hoping with a delay it will put more onus on the property owner. So okay, so rather than the onus on the property owner, what would the historical commission be doing?
Okay, so as I said, with the case of the house at 24 Grove Street, we Virginia wrote an article that we got into one of the Reading papers, and then I got that put into a national publication that went out widely. It was a publication of the National Historical and Genealogical Society, which is in Boston, and basically the hook of the article was, we have this house. It's an orphan. It needs someone to take care of it. So as Jonathan said, we did have people come forward during that 6-month period who were interested in it. I think the house was just too far deteriorated. Is that, Jonathan, that was what happened there?
Yeah, it would require a lot of investment and a lot of work, and I think the price that the developer wanted for the house also was an issue.
Right. So the developer also had, understandably, it's his business. He has financial concerns. He said to us, anything can be saved, but it may not be economically viable for me to save this house. So the thought was that if we could find someone who would love it and live in it, and instead of the developer just knocking it down, that maybe the arithmetic would be different for that kind of person if we could find somebody like that. Because, you know, there are a lot of people who love old houses who, you know, would lovingly take them on, and, you know, it might take a long time, but the house would be standing at the end of the day instead of having financial pressures. That means it's got to come down now because developer needs to recoup his investment.
So and I've asked this years ago, would the historical commission consider moving forward having an arm of a nonprofit like I believe Winchester has? They fundraise so that there's more money, and then there's more ability to go out and do the grassroots and the marketing, the PR, and even if you can get it to a point, maybe even have monies that would go towards helping to keep these properties, so that the investment really is with the historical commission and trying to alleviate the burden, I guess, for lack of a better,
Of the homeowner.
of the homeowner. But if the goal really is to try to keep these properties and make it so this is something that it really is a win-win, would the historical commission consider creating a nonprofit component that they could start fundraising?
Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia, go ahead.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Virginia Adams here. Many years ago, we did establish a nonprofit the Friends of Reading Historical or something like that. And it was primarily to save the Foster Emerson House, which was the greenskeeper's house up at the golf club. And that did work. And that house still stands, even though it was moved. So that's one of our great successes. But unfortunately, the people involved in the nonprofit felt that their work was accomplished and there was nothing else immediately on the horizon, so they disbanded. But it has been tried, it has worked, and if another situation arose that was worthy of all that effort, I think we could muster that again.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've talked about a lot is letting people know they live in a historic home. It's on inventory, getting out there and making sure more people who do appreciate the old homes know where they are in town, and hopefully to foster some of that good feeling about the homes, and also let people know like where they could go for grants. And because the Mass Historical has a lot of information, but a homeowner might not know what's available. So that's something we've also been talked about, haven't had a chance yet, but have talked about trying to have that sort of info so we could tell homeowners, hey, there's a grant for historic homes, you know. Yeah, we're trying to find out what funding is available through the state, so that people who do want to try, who need that extra bit of financing or funding to make it happen, can do so. Yeah. Oh, Carla.
Thanks. Amelia, I think you mentioned the word adopted to Grove Street.
Yeah.
Does that mean the person adopting the house would pay rent and fix up the house?
No. It was just sort of a metaphor for the article that we wrote, but the idea that, you know, it's sort of a valued member of our community and it needs someone to take care of it. No, because the developer understandably had made his investment and he wanted his money out of the house, and he didn't want to carry the house any longer than he had to. So.
But he did come to us and ask for help, which was
he did. Yes,
and
because
worked really hard to try to make it happen.
Yes, because as I said, there are, especially with this most recent example, the people just want what they want, which is their right. It's their house, but they did not even want to discuss with us even, you know, architectural features from the old house that would show up in the new house. And so their house is just going to look how they want, and it's not going to have any echoes of the old house, which, you know, even that is better than
Right.
having the house demolished completely.
And this committee nor the town has no jurisdiction whatsoever to that effect?
No, we can just ask them in the 6 months to come and talk to us. You know, maybe if it were 12 months, we could get them to talk to us, but currently we don't have a lot of leverage, and nobody else does either.
Okay. In the history of this board, whoever's been here the longest, has this ever happened to anyone's recollection that someone went to save a house, quote unquote?
Oh, I think that Virginia would know the most about that.
Yes, we've had several instances. As I mentioned, 409 Grove Street, 420 Franklin Street. We worked through a demolition delay and worked with the Conservation Commission and worked out a plan whereby the old 1711 house could be retained, and other newer properties could, new construction could take place on the acreage. Those are the two primary ones that came to mind. There was a barn that was moved up to New Hampshire, but theoretically saved because it was rebuilt in New Hampshire. So you have to be very creative when you work with the demolition delay. And we've been successful a few times, but it's a very tough road to hoe.
Yeah, no, and I'm guessing you've seen with the real estate boom that's doesn't seem to end, that it's mostly developers coming in and buying older homes? Is that the case?
For the
not really?
most part.
For the most part, okay.
The 6 of the last 7 were that.
Yeah, that's what I gather, right? Because the real estate values are so high in this town. Yes.
And other homes, older homes that aren't on the historic inventory I've seen around, a lot of those have come down and 2 families have gone up. I've noticed in my neighborhood. You know,
Right. No,
Yeah.
I've seen that as well.
There's such a demand, for homes in town here.
Right.
For my own curiosities, since the last 100+ homes were added to the inventory years ago, when our house was added, how many people have volunteered their house to be added, or have you sought out people? Because I know that was a grant and you hired a consultant, but that many years have passed now.
Yeah.
Have we added more homes to the inventory?
Funny you should ask that.
Yeah. Next month, we are hopefully going to add 3 more. I've forgotten the addresses off the top of my head. I know Jonathan knows 2 of them.
Yeah, 27 Hillcrest, 832 Main Street, and is it 767 Virginia Main Street?
About there. I don't know off the top of my head.
And they came to you, or you came to them?
They came
came.
to us.
Okay,
So homeowners can ask to have their house added.
correct.
So that's another way to save a portion of the town's history through homeowners who are interested in doing that.
Right,
It's not-
and that goes to my point where owning a home is a very sacred thing, and when it's even in your minutes how you're afraid you're infringing upon their rights, and I think that's how a lot of people are going to feel. Maybe not a developer per se, but I like what I just heard, that 3 homeowners came to you, and I know you're all volunteers. I'm a volunteer, and a lot of you have been doing this for a long time, and it's, it's thankless work. But what I'm concerned about is, I understand a longer delay may lead to a different outcome, but it seems like over I don't know how many years you want to pick, most of the homes are demolished. Whether it was a 12-month delay, a 6-month delay, because of disrepair, because of a better use, or whatever the case. So I just, I would just like to see a lot of thought go into this as you move forward, which you already have done. And I know you may eventually present this at town meeting. It didn't say exactly when, because the ultimately town meeting will decide.
Right.
And that's kind of where my interest is.
Yeah, I think none of us have any illusions that it's going to suddenly save all the old houses in town by extending the delay. It's still going to be, a challenge to do that. So, but we definitely want to look at other ways to get people interested. Charlene, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
And the demo delay is up to 6 months. That doesn't mean a homeowner comes and, they work with us, and a lot of times we release it early and they demolish it early because of that situation. It isn't always held up for that maximum amount of time. It's that amount of time where we can work together and see if we can find something that works for everybody.
Yeah.
Up to that amount of time.
Did you have something? Oh, sorry, Amelia's next.
Just one more quick statistic, that the number of houses on the inventory is only about 4% of houses in Reading. So we're not talking about a law that's going to, should we try to pursue this, we're not talking about something that's going to affect everybody's houses, just some houses and people who signed up for it,
Erin?
So in regards to the 3 houses that came forward, what type of press are you putting out there to celebrate that and let people know as a way to encourage other homeowners?
Yeah,
Or have you thought about that?
Sorry?
Or have you even thought about that?
We definitely want to. I guess May is Preservation Month, so we want to make sure. We thought we'd try to get some things in the Chronicle and maybe some stuff patches is usually a good place, or the forgotten the other
And
e-news.
we have a public hearing. We have a public hearing scheduled for that.
Okay.
Yeah, those are scheduled in April, mid-April, and so then we thought we'd have the hearings, and then in May we can advertise during Preservation Month, let
Right.
people know, well, these folks came and they got their houses on the historic inventory, and maybe we'll scare up some more interest. Yeah, it's not a terribly crazy process to get on.
Sorry, guys.
Get on the list. Oh, is that your phone, Jonathan?
That's my phone. I've tried to kill it.
Oh, are there any other questions or comments? We need to talk with Joe Marceau shortly here about Salem Street, but thanks for coming, Carla and Aaron. It's good to think about other ways that we can let people know about what the Historic Commission does. Pino?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Pino.
Just real quick, on the question of percentage of towns that have a delay, these are just rough numbers that Amelia sent out back in December. So again, we'd have to verify them for sure, but just real rough on a list on the Mass Historical site. 8% had a shorter delay, 39% had the same delay, 53% had a longer delay.
No, thank you. I mean, you guys do great work. I mean, the utility boxes came out great. And you know, you guys have been at this, some of you, for a long time. It's just, I just want to be cognizant of being fair to homeowners. That's my only, and as you do too.
Oh yeah,
That's my end game.
yeah, we're always conscious of trying to make things as easy as possible for the folks who own and are maintaining these places.
Well, thank you. I don't want to hold you up. Thank you.
All right, thanks very much. Right, so Joe, are you there? I see your picture.
I am here.
Hi.
Just trying to get my video to work.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Oh, I gotta go back on my notes.
You have the D. Michelle's here too, Sam.
And,
Yep, we're here.
oh,
Everyone.
cool. Hi, Andrew. Welcome. Maybe Joe, you sent us your latest those photos and the plans.
Yes, I
earlier
did.
today. Were you able to get those? So we can
Yeah, is this the chimney?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, you want pictures of the chimney?
Yeah, if you could pull up the existing photo I sent. You can start there.
Yeah. Oh, you have two dogs there, Andrew.
Yeah, we have Fred and Lenny with us.
Oh my God, there's adorable. Mine keep barking, but they don't show up in the feed.
All right, I'm Joseph Marceau from Cummings Architects. We're the architect of this project here at 94 Salem Street. So first off, during our renovation of the house, we discovered that the chimneys are not historic to the house. At some point in time, they were changed out and actually made unsafe. The interior flues from the four fireplaces that feed these two chimneys actually combined into one flue, so made it sort of an unsafe condition.
Joe, how would they have heated the house if there weren't chimneys?
Their original chimneys that were there were taken down, and those were rebuilt.
Okay.
Inside, you can actually see the differences of the bricks of when actually where they cut it off and rebuilt it. So what we're doing, we're going to rebuild the chimneys because we want to have these original authentic fireplaces all working again. So to make a better safe condition, we're going to rebuild these flues so that they're all functional, and then put a more historic, authentic, chimney top to it that would have been originally to the house. We have a couple examples on our drawing of that. So it won't have that bell top that it was there in the previous, in these photos here. It would be more straight with 2 courses of corbelling and then maybe a brick or 2 on top of that. So it'd be more just straight up and then probably an inch of corbelling for at the top. That was more of the federal style chimney tops for this period of house. The brick that they did use, it sadly is not historic, so we're not going to be reusing that. They used sandstruct, which is sort of a poor brick to use in the exterior because it just kind of deteriorates in time. We're going to use a water-struck brick, which is more common for that, which actually is used for centuries now.
Is that closer to the kind of brick?
Yeah, that's more closer to the kind of brick that was used inside on the fireplaces.
But Pino, could you show us the plans page?
For the project, we did hire a historic mason that's helping us with this project and making sure all the chimneys are going to work functionally, and he's going to be building these chimney tops.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Joe? Jonathan?
Just, I guess my first question is, those photos and these plans, were they submitted to all of us? I obviously must have missed them because I'm just seeing these for the first time. Did we receive
later today? Joe sent me something earlier, like later, sometime in the afternoon, and when I got home, I forwarded them on to everyone.
Okay, I must have just missed them. I'm sorry, but thank you. And how much? I know that you're saying, Joe, that the exterior portion of the chimneys were obviously in bad shape. How much of the rest of the chimney below that is in need of repair? I'm just curious.
Right now, I believe the mason is working on repairing if there's any damage. I don't know how far he's gotten into like sending cameras down to the individual flues. I just know that we've been working with the mason to rebuild the chimney tops. Right now, I think he's up to like the attic ceiling on the interior. So we haven't gone through the roof yet, but I think he's working his way up.
Okay.
So I don't know the extent of damage going down into the fireplaces.
Okay, thank you.
Charlene?
Are the dimensions going to be the same?
The chimneys that we did take down that were not original were too small to accomplish the 4 flues of the fireplaces. So they're going to be a little bigger than what was before, but not substantially bigger. I think we're looking at possibly around 32 inches when they actually come through the roof in sort of like square.
Mm-hmm.
I think the original ones were like 24.
And you can't fit 4 flues in that small space.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Are there any other questions or comments of Virginia?
I have several comments. First of all, we were devastated to see that the chimneys had been removed without consulting with us. However, I know you've worked with Jonathan through this. The situation is that even though they may not have been the earliest chimneys, each addition and change through the years can gain its own historic philosophy about the house. So we don't have to take an old house and go back to a centered chimney or things of that nature. Yes, the corbelling on the former chimneys was quite ornate, perhaps done in the later time. And I think you probably your concept now of just having a smaller corbelling at the top is worthwhile and okay. Let's see, I made some notes here. Hold on. Do you have any idea when how old those chimneys were?
I don't have an exact date for that. We just kind of presumed it happened sometime in the maybe 1900s when they were probably swapped out. Not 100% on that.
Okay. Do you care to share the name of your historic mason?
Yeah. His name is is it Andrew and Laura? Can you correct me if it's Jeremy, right?
Yep, yeah, it's Jeremy.
I'm trying to think of his last name.
Okay, it's not the one I was thinking of. So
No, we had another guy in mind, Richard Irons, but
yes, he's
yeah,
the best.
yeah, he's the best. This guy, he worked with him on other projects, so
Okay.
we got as close as we can to Richard Irons.
Okay. Let's see.
But we often get asked by folks, you know, who do we have to stuff to the historic house? So it's nice to, if the group kind of has some folks we can direct people to that will get, you know, a good quality work done.
I guess that concludes my comments for now.
I think it's tricky to know, yeah, if you're replacing something that was replaced at one point, you go back to the very original structure or something in between. And I think there's a lot of, you know, can be a real gray area. Like I know for historic house museums, they often pick a time of interpretation, which may not go back to when the original structure was built, but maybe when it was most active or most famous, that sort of thing. So it can be hard to decide that sort of.
I think the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines really emphasizes that sometimes changes in historic homes that have been there for considerable amount of time take on their own historic efforts too, and that's why I hadn't mentioned that at the beginning. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to add? We're good. I don't think we need to do anything official, but we thank you both for coming, unless Jonathan, unless we do.
Yeah, I do think we need to do something official, and I guess I should have mentioned earlier that I think I shared around an email that was sent to me from the building inspector that on the basis of this issue arising, that the work on the site, specifically the demolition of the exterior chimneys, was not what was presented on the plans presented to the building inspector. He agreed with us that needed to be addressed somewhat more formally, and he basically was asking. I think, Joe, you might have gotten an email from his office indicating that it required our approval. Although I'm not entirely sure. Technically, it does require our approval, but since we're in this position where it appears as though we need to close the loop with the building inspector, I was going to suggest making a motion to the effect that upon submission to the building inspector of revised and approved plans, in other words, plans that included the building inspector's approval, showing the restoration of the restored chimneys as presented in your plan, that we would then communicate our approval to the building inspector. So I do think, Sam, and to the commission, that we need to formally adopt that position of approval somehow. So I'd be happy to make that motion if that's okay.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So that being the case, I guess
yeah,
then what
let's
I
do
would
it
say
so
is, I would say, I wrote some notes on my agenda. Move that upon submission to the building inspector of revised approved plans showing restoration of the removed exterior chimneys as presented at the March 10th, 2021 RHC meeting, the RHC will communicate its approval to the building inspector.
Charlie? Oh, you second.
Yeah.
Yep. The unmute button is never where I think it's going to be.
So just to be clear from my standpoint, for Joe and for the DeMichels, I guess I don't know whether the plan that you presented here today has already been submitted to them. But if you would just submit it to them, and then they could communicate back to us that they approved it, because I assume he will want to sign off on it. We can then send a letter from the chair back to them, or an email back to them, communicating the fact that we've approved it. Is all I'm looking to do.
Okay. Yeah, we have not submitted that to the building inspector yet. I'm sorry for the confusion that the chimneys did come down. It happened in the moment where it was like, they're falling apart. We thought we're going to repoint. So we made the decisions like, okay, we can just rebuild it. And then this sort of came up within that same time period.
Well, judging from the photo you showed us tonight, I'm surprised it didn't come down sooner.
Yeah, they looked good from the street, but when you get up close.
Yeah, and I imagine once you're up there, you have to make that decision right away. Yeah. And, so are you all set with the motion? Amelia, would you read it back to us just so we know what we're...
Okay. Upon submission to the building inspector of revised and approved plans showing the restored chimneys as they are proposed at this meeting, the RHC will communicate its approval to the building inspector. Is that right?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Charlene seconded, so I'll go around and do a roll call vote. Dino?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
Amelia?
Yes.
Charlene?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So we can, I can communicate with the building inspectors at Glen Redmond that you've been working with.
Yes, I believe it is Glenn.
Yeah, and we'll compare notes on the plans, and we'll let them know. I can send them our formal approval once he knows once he gets the same set of plans from you guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And describing what happened. It was shocking to walk. I think Virginia noticed it first, that the chimneys were gone. And there was a plan for new ones, but we really appreciate you coming in and letting us know what's happening.
And try to get Richard Irons on board.
Yes.
Yeah, we did, believe me.
All right. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night. I'll hopefully see your puppies out there. I'm just down on Pearl Street, so I buy all the time. All right. Take care.
Well, thanks, you too.
All right, gang. So we have one general way, and that's the communications antenna. And it looks to me like they're putting another antenna on a smokestack that already has a bunch of stuff on it.
Right.
But I got a note from the architect saying it was section 206. Is that the same as the telephone pole work that was going to happen on South Street?
No.
What can
I actually just looked up a little bit of that today. It's a national, it's a federal law, and I don't profess to know anything about it, but it apparently requires, and I found an article which I'll send to people. I don't have the capacity to multitask enough on the Zoom meeting and send it at the same time, but I'll send it right afterwards. That requires for projects that are either administered by the federal government or sponsored by the federal government, any particular arm of the federal government, as far as I can tell, or funded by the federal government. They are required to go through a whole host of things to indicate preservation of historical assets that are affected. As far as I could tell, and Virginia, maybe you or Charlene know better than I wasn't sure whether by affecting historic assets, it was limiting it to the particular asset which is being altered or modified, or whether it's within the view of the asset, which is how I understood it in the letter from the applicant. But they then are required, so it's federally required. I believe it probably also they notified us, and we may want to do a little bit more work after this, because I believe they also have to notify the Mass Historical Commission as the state entity that actually has oversight over this law. And we were just included more or less. I assume it does include local and municipal. Go ahead, Virginia. I'm sorry.
No, it definitely includes the local historical commissions. We have a form letter somewhere in the archives and in the computer, because in the past, when the cell towers were first burgeoning everywhere, we had a lot of requests. And so what the historical commission generally did was look at a map and go within, I think it's 200 feet circumference around the proposal, and then identify any historic properties within that area and determine whether it would have a significant visual impact or shadow impact or anything you could think of. And generally, they did not have a significant impact, but we have done this before, and there is a form letter that we have used in the past somewhere.
I would also add, thank you, Virginia. As I read at least this article, which I'll send around it, I almost thought we definitely need to talk about that and do that in terms of our consideration of what historical properties or assets may be affected. But I understood that the agency, the actual federal agency, has the obligation to identify those historical assets, and it may just be that I'm not even sure. Is this one on our inventory? I'm not even sure if the Dennis property is.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Oh, but the fact that it was the rubber works for years, I don't think we put it on the inventory.
Or is it as a part of either the industrial area or?
No, but what there'd be some historic houses on Ash Street that I think would fall within that radius. So
yeah, and over by not by the police station, but behind there, I'm trying to think of the names of those streets, but John Street or Washington Street or back there may also be affected. But
it might be visible from Parker Tavern.
But the other thing that I was going to add, Sam, is that I did try to look at the plan. It was a little hard. The downside to getting these things electronically is that they're really hard to read the narrative when you try to blow them up. At least it is for me to see it. But as far as I could tell, there already are a series of these antennas on that smokestack, and as I could tell, they were I think like removing 3 and then adding 6 more, and then they were also adding what I don't understand the terminology, but they were also adding some other equipment, components that would be a part of the actual rectangular antenna. They would all be in the same area, but it looked as though there was an addition of somewhere between 6 and 10 other pieces, but they appeared to be exactly identical to what's already there, just a few more in number. Sam, you're muted.
Sorry, the dog was barking. Virginia. Go ahead, Virginia.
I wonder if this has anything to do with the removal of the cell towers up on the water tank on Auburn Street.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Pino, could you put up those plans that she sent? They were pretty detailed.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'll try. What do you want? Like a picture of the chimney with the antenna?
There was one below the main picture, Pino, that actually had in the narrative, it indicated what was being added and what was being removed. I don't know if we're going to be able to read it.
All right, I'll share it and I'll just scroll through.
We'll see what we can. Yeah, it looked to be already a very busy smokestack. And I don't, it was funny how I got this, no, oh my gosh. Very small type. So I got this note from an Amanda Plummer. Well, I got it forwarded from the Historical Society president of North Reading.
Right.
I'm sorry, Sam, can you go back to the one you just had?
Oh, yep.
Because if you look, I'm sorry, Sam, but if you
No,
just
go
look
ahead.
at, particularly in that middle, it seems to indicate in bold, 6 are proposed Verizon antenna, then below that proposed, and then below that proposed. Somewhere I saw, oh, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere, maybe on the one on the left, it indicates something is being removed.
So that looks like the darker, the gray type are things that are there, and the new stuff is in like a darker font. Yeah, there's already a lot of stuff there, but so the president of the North Reading Historical Commission wrote back and said, "You got the wrong town, but the chair of the Reading Historical Commission is so and so," and she sent me that.
Yeah.
But she said she had also sent it to our listserv, and it looked like the address was right, but I never saw anything about this project come to our RHC listserv, so I'm not sure what happened with their original thing, but I thank the North Reading folks for passing that along.
Sam, around that same time, there was an email that came to the forwarding address about the people with the junk in the basement. Did you see that one?
No.
1770s basement.
No, I didn't see that.
No,
Anybody see that but me? Yeah, there was pictures, and I'll find it and resend it.
Yeah,
Can you go back? Sorry.
Yeah, how good the forwarding is, because maybe I can ask Amanda if there's some way for us to like verify everything that's come through. Because we missed things. So I guess they want to know if we have any comments on any impact their proposed changes will have on any historical structures in the area. And they're going to be submitting their report in a week or so. And I said I'd let her know what we'd like to add.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my guess is I don't, the question I think ultimately is going to be whether or not this section of the smokestack is visible from any of the historical properties that we know of within that 200-foot radius.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can collectively figure out how to identify within some, obviously it's not going to be mathematically correct, but some semblance of accuracy, the streets that seem to be within a circumference of that, and then identify the historical homes, and then just see if it can be seen. I'm questioning whether any of it can be seen, but I don't want to say that without actually knowing it.
Yeah, I think there's so much on the smokestack already that it wouldn't make a huge, it's not going to look much different I think, than it does now. With all the other existing antennas. So I'm not sure if maybe we could pick one or two historic properties and check them out, like the Parker Tavern. I'd like to know if you could see it from there and if it would. I just don't know if it's worth us spending a lot of time on it, if it's not going to look significantly different when they're done. It's already covered in stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it definitely is already covered with stuff. I guess the question is how much more stuff and
Yeah.
how much more stuff is going to be cluttered. And the key question is whether it's visible. And I have a sneaking suspicion that you're right, Sam, but going to one or two sites, whether it's the Parker Tavern or something else on Ash Street, and just confirming that you can't see that smokestack, what may answer the question immediately.
Yes, Virginia?
I just remembered that the RMLD old building on Ash Street is a National Register historic property, and I'm sure that would be visible.
Yeah.
So I think we could probably write a letter saying that because there's already antennas there, that there would probably be no additional large amount of additional visual impact to any surrounding historic properties.
Yeah, that makes sense. We don't want to say, go ahead and put up as much as you want, but I
Right.
acknowledge that there'll be a small impact for all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
And we can
Yeah.
maybe pick the RMLD building. Just so they have it kind of in the record. Jonathan?
Yeah, can I just suggest, I don't strongly object, but I mean, in light of I don't know what the timing is here for us, but I would like to at least see if folks are willing to wait until our next meeting in March. Strike that, our next meeting in April.
April.
Before we make a decision, just to take a look. I'd also,
That's
just my
not
own personal.
Jonathan,
Yes.
they're going to submit their report at the end of this week.
Oh, you're kidding?
And I think
Okay.
I could read you the email.
No, then I would retract that. But the only other thing that I would suggest, Sam, if I can,
Yes.
This issue came up in a similar fashion years ago when we were asked to look at something that the MBTA was adding on a pole on their right-of-way, heading up towards
Wilmington.
Wilmington. Thank you. And I don't know that ever happened, but from the standpoint of the formal position, it didn't necessarily have an impact per se from our perspective to a historical property. But I will tell you from my perspective, I was a little bit troubled by the fact that it was going to be located in an area extremely close to residences and residential communities. And the same is true here. And I don't know what the notice or hearing process is with respect to the town at large, letting people, residences in that area know that something is about to appear. And it's not lost on me how this whole water tank and antenna thing kicked up a fuss elsewhere. But I believe at the time it occurred with the MBTA, I had added some language, and I guess I'm asking just to add something about, we would recommend, if it isn't already being done, that a presentation be made to the select board so that the public could be made aware of what's going on. Because we're going to issue a letter and then it's going to happen. And
Jonathan, let me read to you what she says about this timing. This is Amber Plummer, project scientist from the company that's going to be installing the equipment. She said we will be submitting the project to SHPO, which is the State Historic Preservation Office, either later this week or early next week. Then they will have 30 days to respond to our packet. They sometimes respond sooner than 30 days. We will forward all of your comments even after we submit the project to them. You can give us your input anytime within the next 30 days. However, giving us your comments sooner will help ensure that the State Historic Preservation Office has time to see your input and comments before they give us their response.
Well, I guess I appreciate the position, but I guess I would say I'm not thrilled with our receiving notification with such short time period that we can't adequately respond in the first
we've only
place.
had known about it less than a week, I think.
So, I'm not troubled by the fact that we're going to say something which may throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in there. But either way, I still say, just from the standpoint of the process, I would whether we send a letter out now, Sam, and I'm okay with that. I understand the position, but I would at least like to somehow make the suggestion that that it would be helpful if there could be greater town awareness. And I don't know whether there's communication with the select board, but I'm just saying from a political standpoint, it puts us in an awkward position, just as it did with that poll that went up on that was going to go up, and maybe it did go up on the railroad tracks. People are going to see that and say, what the hell happened? And the applicant's going to say, well, I notified the historical commission, and we're in a position of, and it's sort of out of our hands. But I guess that's why I'm just saying I would like some kind of indication that we would appreciate it if some communication would be made to the select board. So they're a little bit more, if you will, in the hot seat. They could have them come in.
I could talk with Ms. Plummer and find out what other notifications they have to give and who else in the town knows about this besides us. I could definitely try to find that out. I also, is the State Historic Preservation Office the same as the Mass Historical Commission?
Yeah, that SPHO is
Yes.
the way it's referred to in the section 106.
So that's sort of generic
law.
name. Okay. Because I was like, I've never heard of the State Historical Preservation Office. I wonder what it is. Is it worth it to try to talk to the talk to Mass Hist and see if what they know about these things? I don't really know. I wish I understood.
Well, I assume our letter is going to be submitted to them. It's going to reflect the position of the local historical board.
Yeah, they're probably relying on the local folks a bit to do some of their research for them.
Right.
Virginia, is that reasonable?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't look at that carefully, but what is the circumference from that chimney? Each telecommunications company has to do this. So even if we send a letter reprimanding this particular one, another telecommunication company will do the same thing too when they change it. So I might be able to drive tomorrow in the area and see if there are other historic properties. But usually what we did was just list the historic properties within the circumference and then say that we believe there was a visual impact or no visual impact. So
Okay, so it's more of a stating what properties will be affected and that there will be an impact, and then we let the state level decide if that's enough to change the plans.
Right.
Oh, that'd be great if someone could, if you'd be willing to give me an idea of some of the properties, I could draft a letter and circulate it to you guys to give me comments. We do have 30 days from the time they submit it. So, we don't have to feel too rushed, but we don't want it to let it go too long either. Because the state preservation office is supposed to consider our comments within 30 days. So maybe I can try to find out over there who's in charge and let them know we're gonna be giving some comments on this project, and they should wait for them until I don't know if that's useful or not.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we should just, take the week or two, whatever, whatever,
Yeah.
regardless of whether they submit it, particularly since Mass Historical will have more time.
Yeah.
I think, I wouldn't worry about taking another week or so
Gotcha.
to get
Yeah.
it
And they
figured
do
out.
they know we exist, and they would probably be on the lookout for, the local, hopefully, with what we have to say. All right. Anything more about the antennas? It could get really busy up there if they keep adding stuff. Crazy. All right. I have just a short update on the Gould Street historic marker. I sent our comments and the edits we made to the text that Amelia put together to Dave Tragorth, and they're gonna work on another draft of the historic marker and get it back to us. So I'm waiting on that. That's for that. And the utility boxes. So the art box program is going to happen after all. And Andrew McNichols now wants to be able to figure out which boxes they're planning to use. So I said we would discuss it again tonight, and I would try to get back to him. I know we definitely want the Memorial Park. They are also interested in things on Woburn Street. But I thought, what if we gave them our first two choices for our second box, and then if they want, whichever one they pick, we'll take the other one if they want. Does that seem fair?
To give them two of our choices.
Give them we definitely want Memorial Park, but I thought if we give them two choices for our second box, and if they really want one of those, they could take one, and we'll take whatever the other one is.
So you mean like we definitely want Memorial Park, and we are looking at either the depot at Woburn or Woburn and Summer.
Yeah.
And we'll take whichever the other one was. Well, unless we have a stronger feeling about which one of those two we prefer. I mean,
I think either one would be really useful. And a lot of people would see it. So, but what if folks think about our alternatives? Those two alternatives. Are there any other boxes that anyone wants to vote for? Virginia?
The boxes are going fast and furious because Andrew has contacted Walkable Reading, which I'm a member of, and suggested that even Walkable Reading could adopt a couple of boxes. But I think that's primarily for those that are going to put murals on them. So they're a hot item.
I know. Got to stake our claim now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Jonathan.
I guess just to express a preference, either of those two at the depot or up on Woburn and Summer, but my personal preference would be Woburn and Summer, only because I think it's more visible and it's clearly associated to the historic district. So I think if we get a little bit more bang for our buck out of that, but I could go either way.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like having one up by the historic marker sign too. but I think we could make good use of either location. What do you think, Pino?
I really like Woburn and Summer. It's right at that intersection where the light is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of foot traffic there too. People walking by there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be really nice with the backdrop of the district right there too.
Virginia, do you know about, or for Charlene, are there some good photos we could use at that location? Or would the depot have a little more to choose from?
Jonathan had mentioned using the Prospect Street School photo that had stood in that general area. It's actually stood, is that, oh,
The block up, right? Oh,
yeah, where the fire station is now.
yeah, I think it was right there in the
Oh,
corner.
okay. It's like partway up Woburn Street.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's where it was.
Uh-oh.
No, because that's Woburn Street.
Yeah.
And Prospect Street School was on Prospect Street.
Okay.
Right, but it was on the corner, right?
Mm,
It was on the corner of Prospect and,
we'll have to look up at an old
Yeah.
map.
Yeah.
but there's also, I'm sure we have photos of, I mean, we have photos of 186 Summer, which is right there. We have photos of a couple of the
Oh,
other
that was
houses that are
nice.
right there.
Yeah.
I could tell them Woburn and Summer and the depot with a preference for Woburn and Summer, and see what they pick. I feel like since we've claimed our stake on the Memorial Park, I don't want to be too grabby with the other one. But I think they also are considering other sites, so there may be others on Woburn that they would use instead. Any objections for me passing that along to Andrew, and then they can do their planning, and once I know which one they don't want, we can start our planning for the second box. Okay.
Sam, somewhat related, did you have any more information from Amanda or whoever, I forget you were speaking to, about access to the archives for us?
That's coming up under the town archives.
I guess I can wait.
Yeah, I'll get to that soon. We already talked about the demo delay review. Any other comments about that, Virginia?
Well, it was rather awkward because you may not know the history on that, but Carlo's wife, Erin Archie, was the one that was instrumental in reducing the delay from 12 months to 6 months at Town
I
Hall.
thought that seemed right, and I was like, okay, let's be careful.
I didn't know how to work that into the conversation.
That's all right.
So, but just so the rest of you know, so.
Yeah.
And she's still a town meeting member.
There was no way to work that into the conversation, and Carlo as well as a town meeting member.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is good to think about other ways we can get people interested, and maybe we can save some houses even if the ones on the inventory start to go. Amelia?
I was just looking back at my notes. He was very clear, I think, that he was not wild about this.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to be fair to homeowners.
Right.
And he also used the word sacrosanct. People's houses are sacrosanct. So that I thought was an interesting tell.
Yeah, I think that shows us what Jonathan's been
Exactly.
has said. There will be some strong opposition, and we need to be able to argue for why we think some of these impositions are okay, and talking about other ways we're trying to save historic structures. I think saying, going in saying if the only way we can do it is a long demo delay will turn a lot of people off.
Yeah, I agree with that. In a sense, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, and I was going to support that as well, suggesting that, we are looking at the discussion um, about working with homeowners to come up with funds uh, to rehabilitate some of these homes is one way to look at it. My fear is, and I think you're right, Sam. I think it's good to be able to have multiple arguments to save these homes. But my fear was that it's gonna result in people saying, "Well, go that way and not this way." Do
Yeah.
more of that. Do more helping people save their homes and less imposing
Delays.
things on their sacrosanct properties.
Yeah, and even this comment in the chat that she said, what additional efforts would the historic commission take in addition to what is taken now, so that the ball is completely in our court, according to her, not
Mm.
town meeting or,
Yeah.
The other thing also, just it occurred to me afterwards, but the question she was asking about, I'm not sure which direction she was going with respect to single-family homes versus multifamily, but a couple of these were converted to two-family home.
Right.
Yeah. There was that one that went from 3 to 2 up on Salem.
Oh, yeah, 119, is that 7981, right?
No, that was a duplex.
Oh, so 119.
Must be the other one. Yeah.
But Haven Street, the one at 309, I think Haven Street was converted to two-family,
Right.
for what it's worth.
I think it's strange the house across the street on Pearl, on the Pearl Street side from 94 Salem, what that was lifted up, I don't know,
Yeah.
and carefully moved over and then moved back and set down. We thought, oh great, they're gonna like put an addition and do all this. I don't think there's any original material left in that house, and I don't know why they spent so much money to build a two-family. So it's just mirrors itself in the back. So the second unit, the front door faces the side yard of the house on Pearl Street. And the Pearl Street side, all you see are the two garages.
Right.
Yeah.
Very strange. They even changed the roof line and did all kinds of weird things. We're
Does the
still trying
owner
to
live
figure
there?
out
Do you know?
why it made sense to lift the house and move it and put it back, because you can't tell any of the original houses there.
Right. Does the owner live there?
Oh,
No.
they sold both of those for about $1 million each.
Oh, really? So they moved, they're gone.
So the developer, I'm sure, that probably why it was so expensive. They had to pick it up and move it and all that. It's very strange. Anything more on the demo delay review for now?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I was just looking to see if, I'm sorry,
Well, it's fine.
I couldn't recall whether or not we were going to have a separate discussion about the three homes, but the three homes to add, but I see we're not. So this would be the time
sure.
to mention it. I think at the time I had reached out to Kurt and Andy with respect to those two properties. I can't recall whether I heard back before our last meeting. I don't think I did from Andy, but Kurt is on board, and I know Andy because they have pursued that several times. But I do want to say that I got an email from a text from him the other day asking if we could hold off for now on that property. He didn't indicate any reason, but just asked if I could suggest that we hold off on that. So I guess I'd just like to ask then that we even though we'd initially said we were going to do all 3 on April, I would suggest that we not go forward unless I hear differently from them with respect to that one until later, and just defer that one till later.
Virginia?
I sent an email to the property on Main Street and never heard back from them. So last time he called me in regards to putting the house on the inventory. So I don't know whether he was on board for the April hearing date or not. But the owners don't really have to be present or part of the thing as long as they don't object to the house being put on, is the way I understand it.
Jonathan?
I completely agree, Virginia. But and just for me, with respect to the Hillcrest property, just not knowing the reasons why. And I mean, I suppose I could reach out to him, but it would be my preference, since I don't know the reasons why, and I don't know whether there's been a change of heart with respect to favoring it. I still would suggest that we hold off on that one, regardless of whether they're going to be there, because I don't want to be in an unenviable position of having done it and then having regretted. Then we wouldn't be in a position of saying that everybody supports it. So
Right.
I guess that's all I would say about that.
Yeah, I'm fine with waiting on that and finding out a little more. Is it just they really want to be at the hearing and they can't make it, or they're having second?
I'll reach out to him. I'll be happy to reach out to him. But for now, I'd suggest that we proceed that way. And I just was reminded, Sam, I will follow up with you, because we got to get the letter out.
Yeah, if you've got time on the weekend, you can kind of walk me through that. And we can...
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll make a note and send it to you tomorrow, so that we can be ready. Because I do know that the letter to the homeowners with the Form B needs to go out 30 days in advance. The other stuff doesn't, but that does. But yeah, then we can touch base with the rest of the stuff on the weekend.
Do you want?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to hold off for another month for Kurt and the Brandt property, so that we don't have to re-advertise in the newspaper again and again?
I could go either way. I do know that Kurt was okay with it. He indicated to me that he's available and he'll be there to do whatever we need. So he's okay, and I'm sure he will also be okay if we choose to go forward in May. So I guess I could go either way in terms of just holding off on one and doing the other two, unless, Virginia, you feel as though you want to confirm with the other Main Street property whether they're on board or not.
No, they're on board for having it done, the property put on the inventory. Whether they can attend or not is another thing. I know they have health issues, so it may be a case that they wouldn't care to attend.
So just speaking for myself, and I obviously defer to everybody else, but in terms of your suggestion, I'm perfectly comfortable. I don't see any downside to advertising for the 2 for April, which we know are going to go forward and are going to, presuming that we vote that way, are going to be added to the inventory, and then just noticing the third one in May it's not a lot of heavy lifting for us. So I don't see any downside to going forward with the 2 in April and the other one afterwards.
Yeah. So Jonathan, exactly when would that letter have to go out?
It has to go out 30 days before the hearing.
So it has to go out by, I'm just opening my calendar. Is that like that's Sunday?
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Sunday's the 14th of March.
Do me a favor. Give me 1 second. Carry on amongst yourselves, and let me just check the regulations. But I think
that's something I can work on the weekend, but I would have no time between now and Saturday morning to look at that.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of.
I mean, I can draft the letters. They were already drafted, and just send them to you.
And then I could, and I could forward them on as from the chair. That'd be fine. I just wouldn't have time to do a lot of
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were already there. Bear with me.
Yeah,
for a
that's what I
second.
said a month, and I was like, oh, 'cause I know Friday is the 12th. Or would the 15th suffice?
The commission will inform by regular US mail each property owner whose structure is being considered for preparation of an inventory form. The owner of each structure for which an inventory form has been prepared shall be sent a notice of a public hearing at least 30 days in advance of the hearing. The notice shall be sent by certified mail, return receipt requested. So it does have to be sent 30 days before the hearing. So I can send that to you tomorrow if we want to try to get it out for the April meeting, or we can put it
I
off.
would be at work from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And I have no time tomorrow to do any, like, I'll be lucky if I get a shower in tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this, like, doing stuff during the week is sometimes hard. I've been trying to sneak it in, but the weekends are my main available time. And I didn't realize it was a 30-day notice. I was thinking we had 2 weeks ahead.
Well, I knew it was a 30-day notice, but I didn't, we're doing the next hearing on the 14th. I lost sight of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can try to, I can try to get, I mean, I'd be happy to, just, it doesn't require necessarily your signature. I can try to get them. The question is, if we get them to Amanda tomorrow, assuming Amanda's in, because it has to go out tomorrow then, right?
Would have to go out by Saturday.
But they're
No.
closed. They're closed
Yeah,
Friday and Saturday.
Amanda is in the town hall from 8 to, she told me her hours. 8 to 2. Yeah, she's there Monday through Thursday from 8 to 2 in the at town hall.
So depending on, I guess we should open it up and see what people think. I can try to get the letter to her tomorrow to have it go out certified, which will just make it. Or back to Virginia's suggestion, we just put it off to the May meeting.
Char, you look like you're.
If we held it off till May, might we know about the Hillcrest Parkway or Hillcrest?
I would assume so. I don't mean to be
Yeah.
obtuse about it. I don't know any more information than that. But I will try to find out whether we'll have clarity certainly by then. I would presume we would, Charlene.
It seems like it's not a big deal to delay it a month on Kurt's end or the sorry, Virginia, I've forgotten the name of the
Brandt.
brand.
Is the name. Brandt.
I gotta write. If I write it down a few times, it'll stick. Yeah, I mean, it might make more sense to set up our May meeting tonight, and that'll give us several weeks to prepare. And if they're quick, just do that, and not much, just a couple other things in May, and then.
I lean towards that too.
Yeah, is that all right with everybody? I don't think
we can still say, if we're sending out a letter and we wanted to say something about the 3 additional houses, we can still say that they're scheduled for inclusion in May.
Yeah,
so
we can still do publicity, and we've got it once it's, and then that'll give me some time to learn the procedure from you, Jonathan, and make sure we've got everything else lined up. All right.
I'm going to take care of that tomorrow anyway. I just want to get that stuff to you so I don't. I'm sorry about losing track of the time myself.
I can kind of make sure I know what plan is. All right. So any finances news?
I submitted my expense report. It was very easy once I had the help from Jonathan.
Okay.
So that was it.
Is that something you do online now, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I've noticed the town's moved online with a bunch of things like the dog license and the chicken license and the and the building permit and that sort of.
Yeah, they seem to be there because they did that with the building permit. I noticed for 94 Salem. So they seem to be moving in that direction for everything.
All right. So I had membership on next. I did send a mail to the select board thanking them for appointing Pino and asking them to kindly fill the other 2 spots if there's anyone who's applied. I haven't heard anything back. Amanda made sure that we updated the officers on the website, and that looked good. And it does show 2 open slots. So if people look, they, and they're interested, they might notice. And it also says what, how long the term is. So if you forget when your term runs out, it's a good place to check. And I sent around, I think, an updated contact list just amongst us. I think everybody got that.
Which was good.
Oh, is it all right when I share a document using Google? Does that work for everybody? I know Jonathan's been figured it out. I don't know about you, Virginia. What is that?
Yeah, I had trouble doing it, but my daughter wrote down the instructions for me, so I was able to do it again tonight to get in. So
okay. Well, if it continues to be a pain in the patootie, I can, go back to, we can figure out something else, or I can send you a Word doc. I find I don't know which file I'm working with if I have multiple copies, and I don't have Word on my computer.
Oh, okay.
So I have to make it an Apple product thing, and then.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to improve my technique as well.
No, it's supposed to just send you a link, and then you check the link, and it opens the file. That's
it doesn't.
Supposed to happen.
It doesn't on my Mac.
Oh, it should. Oh, see, that's annoying.
No,
do you have a Google account, Virginia?
Yes, but I have to go through Chrome to get it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So.
You should be able to log into Gmail from any browser.
Yeah, but I rarely use that account, so.
Oh, I see.
I'm not even sure how I'd get into it, so. No, just don't worry about it.
What's that, Pino?
I said it's probably already saved and logged in Chrome, so every time she opens Chrome, it's probably already logged in there.
Oh, that could be. You could just try Chrome and see if you're in. But it is supposed to. You aren't supposed to have a Gmail account for you to be able to look at that file.
Not to worry, we'll get it.
I'll ask my IT person, which is my husband, if he has. He's pretty
handy to have your IT person right at home.
I know. Well, and if the computer's misbehaving and he walks by, it suddenly stops misbehaving.
Wow, it's a good talent. Yeah. He should copyright that.
All right. That's all I had worked on as far as membership issues. Is there anything else you need to talk about? All right. So for the town archive, I had to send Laura. I sent the town clerk Laura a PDF of our archive policy, and she said, "Can you send me it in a Word doc so that I can format it?" So all right, I did that. I don't know.
Why did she need it in Word?
I don't know. So she could format it with the rules and regs. She was going to add it to our rules and regs.
Oh.
So I figure in a few days I'll check the website and see how it shows up there. But I think that was, as long as it was a Word doc, it was easy for her to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I did talk with Amanda. Let me read to you what Town Hall, and it's unclear to me exactly who wants from us. So Amanda says, I was asked to have RHC provide a schedule for accessing Town Hall, including the rationale for why you need this access and increased frequency, along with the attached form, there's sort of a health form that needs to be filled out. And it would also have to be coordinated with town staff. Right now, we can only get in between 8 and 4:30 Monday through Thursday.
Did she say that?
That's right now, that's what's available for appointments. So I thought I would find out from you guys, I don't know, how often we think we'd like to go in, and if we need other hours besides that 8 to 4:30, you know, I would ask for that too, because I think I don't know why we need a rationale to go into the town archive. That seems strange to me, but I will happily outline several reasons why we need to get in there. I did ask her if she would once a month go and check and make sure there's no water leaks or anything weird going on, and she reported everything looked fine today. So so I don't know if anyone's been in there. Well,
How thick are the cobwebs?
Oh, I don't even want to know.
We haven't been in there for almost a year, I'd say.
Yeah.
I was in, I think, literally 2 times.
Yeah.
Back, must have been, I'm drawing a blank, this all started in March, right? So.
Yeah.
It must have been in the springtime. I can't even, yeah, because I went in there with Jack to look at the material to give to Dave Tregorth to pick up the material, and then I went in shortly after that to return them. So we haven't. Those were the only times anybody has been in there, and they were before the summertime, or maybe in the summertime, but twice.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, Sam. I think my guess is it's a little crazy that they have those requirements, but my suspicion would be that the health board has probably generated some protocols for, since the town hall is now open apparently by appointment to accommodate some citizens to do business there. They've probably come up with some protocols that the health department has required, and they're just, I hope that's all that requires it, is some written explanation as to why people are coming in. I mean, for us, because we work for them and we need to do the work that we do for the town to get into the archives is the answer. I mean, I was only thinking of getting, access on an ad hoc basis. But if you wanted to schedule, or if Amelia, you wanted to schedule, I'm happy to accommodate you. Just, the 1 or 2 times you wanted me to go in with you.
Yeah, I was sort of hoping I could do like Tuesday 4 to 7 every once a month or something, but they're not back to their regular hours. And I'm working every day right now, so I don't.
Well,
I'm not. Yeah, go ahead.
Just.
So I thought I'd outline all of that and say.
Yeah, I would just say, look, you work, you're the chair, you have things to do. The problem is there are no meetings there, so there's going to be nobody there at night, which may be the problem. But I would still suggest it, and then give them time during the day just to,
Yeah,
satisfy.
But it's tough, and I don't know. I mean, I will probably have some time in April and May, where I'm working from home, and I'll have a little more flexible schedule. But I thought I'd write a general, rationale for the things we want to do when we go in, and explain that it's some of it's ad hoc, because we sometimes have to go in when people have requests for information. We never know when that's going to happen. And that we'd like to come in when we're available to just maintain the archives. So I'd send that to, I plan to send that to Amanda, and then hopefully then she'll tell me who we have to actually contact to schedule the time. Or maybe we still do it through her. Jonathan?
Just Amelia, I know you're doing the work on drafting a letter. If you're feeling some pressure to try to get in there sooner, I don't think, I mean, notwithstanding what Sam needs to do, I'm sure we can probably have Sam, or I mean, I'm happy to do it if Sam, you want me to, but I think we could just reach out to them and say, look, I'm putting together the thing you need to get us in there, but in the meantime, we have this need because we're drafting, you know, a letter, or we need some access to some research stuff to draft a letter, and we'd like to get 2 people in there on, you know, whatever day works for you and for me, Amelia. And I'm sure,
Yeah.
I mean, I know they allowed that before. I think that they would probably allow that so that Amelia can get, you know, do whatever she needs to do,
Okay.
assuming we can find those letters there.
Right.
What are you looking for?
When we were talking about drafting the letter to the inventory owners, Jonathan
yes.
said he thought he'd seen
Yes.
past correspondence. So if we have, you know, some templates that I
Yeah.
could work off of, that would be helpful, I think.
Yeah. I could send a general, this is why we kinds of things we want to go to the archive for, and Amanda could pass that along. And then if Amelia, you want to follow with you, instead of having to ask, you know, do it all for me, you could just say,
Yep.
hey, I need to come in, and when's the soonest I could do it? And she'll
Sure.
have all that info, and we'll see how that works.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think right now, yeah, Amanda is sort of the coordinator. She didn't give me any other person to schedule time with, so I think we just go through her unless we're told otherwise. So, Charles?
I know for me to go into my office, there's a certain protocol. Every time I go in there, I have to sign in, answer questions.
Yep.
They want to know how long I'm there. So, and that's part of its contact tracing.
Yes.
And the town hall can be the same way.
Yeah, they have a form that I don't remember if I shared with everybody. I'll do that. But Amanda shared with me the health form that's supposed to be filled out every time you go to visit. So I can pass that along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking, you know, the situation for Amelia's use, it's just a one-off situation. It's just that, you know, she just wants to get in there, you know, on a particular day to transact a particular business, and I assume Amanda can accommodate that.
Yeah, I would think that should be fine. And she's there from 8 to 2, and then the town hall's open till 4:30. So.
Do you have her number, Amelia? Or
It's on.
I mean, I have her email. She's pretty good with email, right? So
yeah, she's very good with email.
Yep. Okay.
Her number is on her signature on her email. That's where I found it this
It's
morning.
942-6654.
I've lost the ability to remember phone numbers.
I was going to say the only phone number that I remember like that is the pediatrician's number, not Amanda's number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We did get the kids to remember my phone number. Just did a house number, but no one knows my husband's number. I can't even put it together. It's bad. I need to like write it down 100 times or something.
Yeah, way too many numbers.
Yeah.
We probably, go ahead, Virginia.
No, speaking of the archives, did everyone get the maintenance type memo, that draft that I had prepared? Because I realize a lot of people don't know that you've got to change the thermostat and things like that. So
Yeah.
I thought if we could post that in the archives on the wall or something, whenever anybody goes in, they could check and make sure. So
I think I forwarded that to everybody, but I don't know
Yes,
when.
I think
Okay.
today.
Yeah.
Good.
No,
thank you.
having it posted and we'll include it in the manual, you know, at the back, like you can have an appendix with
Mhm.
stuff like that. I think is yeah, and having it up somewhere once we get a chance to clean up. Yeah. No, I'm thinking of those poor maps and things that need to get put in the flat files that we moved very precariously a while back.
Oh, I
There's still
forgot
that
about
box of for the glass plate negatives. You had ordered something, Sam?
Oh, I got stuff.
That's been sitting there for a year now.
right.
So many plans.
Mm.
I was thinking maybe once the COVID restrictions are all gone, of talking to some of my profs at Simmons, because Simmons students provide a lot of free labor to historical institutions everywhere. And Perhaps there's someone who would want to do an internship or an independent project and take it upon them to help us with some of just the stack maintenance and checking the inventory and making sure things are where they're supposed to be, kind of.
Mhm.
And that could be someone who was available between 8 and 2 on every other Thursday or whenever they're open. So, but I thought for the future that might be.
Yeah, that's great.
I did a lot of free work for people in my.
You still are.
I know. All right. Okay, well, all right, let's talk about the schedule. Is there any new business? Yeah.
Shocker.
I know. I wanted to share with you that the Reading Post recently produced a story about Dr. Brooks, who was in Reading's first physician. He was called from Tufts University, and he lived on John Street. I think it's 52 John Street. Charlene will remember that we went through that house and saved it from demolition. But he rented there. But he was also an alarm rider. But more importantly, this goes into more of his life. He became a governor of Massachusetts, but prior to that, he worked closely with General Washington, and there were 3 paintings there that depicted Washington and Governor John Brooks in the background. So he was a close ally to him, and it really made him much more of a dignitary than when he lived in Reading and was the town doctor. So if anybody gets a chance to check the Reading Post, I think it was on last week, in last week's issue. And then Everett Blodgett gave a call because he's had a request from someone out in California to buy 2 roof trees volumes.
Oh.
Now we have probably, I'm guessing, 10 or 12 remaining, and I've been somewhat reluctant to sell them because of the fact that there aren't any more in print. So I'm bringing it up to you folks to kind of decide whether we want to give up 2 roof trees. And I can't remember how much we used to sell them for. Charlene, do you have any recall?
No.
I don't think they were too expensive, but the thing is, this Roof Trees magazine booklet was redone during the bicentennial because there had been a series in the local chronicle, and it is full of genealogy about specific houses and the people that lived in them, and it's very well done by previous local historians.
Miriam Barkley?
Yes, and Eleanor Bishop. Actually, it was Eleanor Bishop and her husband, who was also the C. Nelson Bishop, who was also the Chronicle editor.
So the booklet, when was it originally published?
I think in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
And then they bound it, and we have the last of them that are available that I believe.
Those were also printed in the 40s? They're all?
No, these are all, they were never
The 70s.
printed in the 40s. They appeared in the newspaper.
Oh.
It's a weekly column or so.
Okay. I know I've seen that booklet.
Yeah.
It's in the library too, right?
What's
I
that?
believe so.
It's in the
yeah.
library, I think.
Yeah. But these people out in California want copies.
Who are these people?
They're relatives to the Parkers, which was a big, huge family in Reading. And Everett has corresponded with him, sent him 1 copy, because Everett buys them used even on the internet when they show up. And now this guy wants to have 2 to give to his children out there in California. Now, will the children ever read them? I don't know, but I'm passing on the request. What do you think?
I think we should figure out how many copies exactly we have.
But then we'd have to go to the archives.
I know. That's the hard part. I think if we have a dozen.
They're in the file drawer near the door. So a short file.
I thought there was 1 or 2, at least like with the books.
Oh, yes. And
Well,
those are part of the collection.
Yes.
In fact,
So these are extra.
one is a numbered volume from the first printing or something too.
Yeah,
So
those are the ones I've seen.
yeah.
I'm all for selling off stuff in the filing cabinets that are extras.
Yeah.
Personally.
And when was the last time you sold one?
Within my lifetime.
There we go.
Yeah, if
How
we have
old are you
12.
now? You've been
if
on
we
the
have to-
commission since 78 or something?
Let's charge him a decent amount. We've got to go to the archive and fetch the thing. That should cost $100 because we got to bribe somebody to get us into town.
Well, what did Everett sell the first one for?
I think he gave it to him.
Okay.
I think they were maybe $12.50 or $15. I can try to look through my paperwork here.
$25.
Yeah, I mean, they've aged beautifully, so.
They're a good
But
shape.
that's fair. And I mean, I think, the concern, Virginia, I mean, obviously it's legitimate if you feel that way anyway, but I mean, it's definitely legitimate if we're down to 5 or 6. But at 12 of them, I'm not that anxious about having it go down to 10.
Yep. And I don't think we've sold any in a long time.
No.
What do you think?
I'd like to have
Steve,
every
like a deal.
commission member have one.
Wait, so where does he find them online? Like on used book website?
He searches for anything from that has a Reading connection, and he buys postcards online. He has quite a few collections. So
I did read that Reading Post article. It was pretty good.
yeah, oh, good. I'm glad you saw it.
Hey, Pino?
Yeah.
Everett didn't give you a copy of that book? Because he gave me a copy.
Give me 60 seconds. I'll run up and look. Hold on.
I think I bought one.
You mean
Maybe that's the last one we
The
sold.
roof trees.
Yep.
Of the roof tree
He
book.
did?
He did, and I thought he gave one to Pino too.
No, Pino's going to check. Either that or he's heading over to your house, Amelia.
Or Everett's house. I don't know.
I would buy a copy that I could have. Or maybe the chair gets one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think, Virginia, you shared a copy with me. I may still have it.
Oh, really?
I'll have to check, but I
carry on, and I'm going to go check, and I'll show you my picture, so you'll know what it is.
He's got one.
He did give you one.
Oh.
Well, I mean, Sam, to your point, if we have 12 of them, and if I think we should at least have the commission members have one, or at least even borrow it. I mean, we don't need to keep them, but we ought to at least be able to have read it. It's a great book.
Yeah, I just had a chance to glance at it.
Yeah, it's in depth. So,
And actually, we're now down if Virginia has one. I'm pretty sure I have one. Pino and Amelia have one.
I have 2.
I wonder if Charlene may even have one. Sam may be the only one.
So.
Sam's the only one who doesn't have one.
I have an autographed Eleanor C. Bishop copy.
Ooh.
That one goes back to the archive. You got to trade that one in.
I'd be willing
No, it's weird, isn't it?
to try to make an appointment and sneak in you know, at 8 some morning and see how many we have
Okay,
and maybe grab up 2, 3, and then
yeah.
if it seems like there's enough, I'll let you know and you can tell Everett.
All right, they're in the 2-drawer file cabinet right next to the door. When you go in the door, it's to the right.
That one, yeah, they're low
This-
and then the
Yeah.
hard file is on top of that.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
that Eleanor Bishop's stuff? That card file?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Very good. So I'll tell him that we'll try to provide them for him.
Yeah. They
Okay.
provided our supplies. Okay. Trees. And then we'll try out both between me and Amelia. We'll see how hard it is to get into the
Okay.
tunnel.
If you get in, then let's try to get into Fort Knox. Do you have any other new business? I have
No.
a couple things. The 32 Prescott Street garage, Bridget,
Oh.
you described it.
Yeah.
Is there, and you said there didn't seem to be anything in particular. We could
I don't know what her question really was about, because she's going to do some improvements in her on her property. Well, to me, I think the improvement would be to take down the garage. And
Yeah.
I was really surprised at how bad it was.
Yeah. I could
I-
get back. Did that come from Amanda? I can't.
think so.
Yes, through her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can report back to her with our comments. Jonathan?
Yeah, the request, I mean, I know Virginia, because I emailed Virginia when she commented about the garage, because I had no idea what that was about. But whatever I saw, it was very unclear what it, I mean, I didn't even get the sense when she talked about doing improvements that it had anything to do with the garage, which she referred to as a barn. I mean,
Yeah.
so we need more information as to what she's looking for, because I didn't see anything in reference to the barn other than from you.
Okay. Oh. Aha.
It's in very bad shape.
That
You
little
can
brown
see it
thing?
there.
Oh, wow.
You get
Yeah.
a better shot of it if you can get the shot from Washington Street. It's far worse than that. It is.
Yeah.
Makes my siding look not so bad.
The house is well. The house looks lovely.
Yeah. And it's not on the inventory. I
Right.
don't know that it has any historical significance.
I'll reply to Amanda and
Thank you.
or no, you don't have any particular direction for her. And if there's a specific question, she should get back to it. I got update from Rick Nazaro, who had
Yeah.
photos of the doctor in a doctor bag and some unnamed books.
Yeah.
And he said the fellow who's leaving the house has decided to keep them.
Oh,
But he did say it would make copies of the photos. And I said, we would love to have that. So
okay.
fingers crossed we'll get something. So we at least know what the images are and hopefully who the people are.
I noticed there's a sold sign on the property now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, it might have, the original email seemed like something they definitely wanted to get rid of, but I think in the
Quickly.
interim, they decided, oh, I do have room in my new house after all, or whatever.
Or you discovered eBay.
I don't know. I don't know. Old photo portraits. I don't know if
I
there's.
was thinking of the doctor bag.
If there a special process or of a certain person. I really don't know what makes, there's so many old photos out there. I'm not sure what makes them, when something is more valuable than another one. I don't really know. People ask me all the time if it's worth repairing their book, and I don't know.
Oh,
Your family Bible from 1890, you probably can't sell to anybody.
yeah.
It belonged to your family, so
Yeah.
how much
you
you
want-
can afford and are willing to spend. That's all I had for new stuff. Is there anything else we need to go over? All right. Did we review the minutes from last month?
Did look at those.
Yeah. Well, maybe, do you want to put them up, Pino, in case we need to have a group review?
Yeah, I just gotta get them out of my email.
Maybe put Jonathan's up, not the original draft.
Yeah. In the interim, I called or emailed Jonathan and told him that he had written a wonderful annual report for 2020. It was very well done, and we made history.
It's a wonderful commission.
Julie,
Writing was easy, doing it was hard.
Julie Mercier complimented your report as well. Well,
Oh,
she
good.
complimented me, and I said it's all Jonathan's doing. So
Yeah.
for writing it up, and it's
But you
great.
get to do it. You get to do it next year.
I
Sam.
know. I thought what I should do is like use yours as a template and kind of do it every couple months, so I'm not scrambling at the end. We'll see how well I stick to that.
Right.
Am I spelling Santel House properly with the E at the end?
Yeah, I think
All
so.
right. I thought that was it. And but spell check.
It has an E or it doesn't have an E?
It
I
does.
It does.
Okay,
Yeah, I think I did it wrong in the agenda for tonight.
okay.
Oh, it does look like contractor needs to be changed to contractor.
Where do you see that?
Beginning of page 2. In 2 places it says contractor instead of, I think it means
Contractor.
contractor.
Oh, okay.
You want me to zoom in, or can people read this? I can't see what I'm like sharing, so it's kind of, I can see
Oh.
it, but I can't see what it looks like to you guys.
Looks good right now. We're on, yeah, we can see page 2.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, I agreed with all of Jonathan's edits.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
didn't, I couldn't think of anything else we should add.
Okay, I keep getting this address confused. Kurt Habel's address is what?
832.
832, not 852. Okay.
Does I would, if everyone's had a chance to look at things, I would make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll
I'm happy-
second.
Go around with a vote. Pino,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Amelia,
Yes.
and it's a yes for me. So. And we don't have to set up our next month's meeting.
No, but should we set up the May one?
I was just gonna say we could go ahead and pick a date for May. That way we can let them, if we do post, we can let the homeowners know for the hearing.
So
Okay.
Oops.
are we gonna pick a date for the hearing so that, are we going to do that in April, that we have to have it more than 30 days after the April meeting?
We don't have to do that, Charles, because I won't make the same mistake. I'll get the information to Sam this weekend, so she can just send those letters out.
Yeah. So if
She
we
doesn't have to
schedule it
wait.
for mid-May, that gives us like almost 60 days to get. So it gives
Okay.
me a week or so to, or
Mhm.
even longer to get those letters out, but I'll do it quickly. So we're not waiting around. All right. Can you stop sharing your screen because I can't get to my calendar? I don't know. There's probably a way to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. I was playing with that myself, Sam,
Yeah,
because
well,
I was trying to figure that out. You can, at least on a Mac, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you get your icons up, and you can
Oh,
actually.
that's what I need to do. Okay. So the April meeting is set for the 14th. So is the 12th or the 19th work for folks of May?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do either.
Yep.
Cheryl, does that either of those conflict with your monthly thing?
No, because my Wednesday night other thing went to Thursday night.
Oh.
So
All right. Let's say the 12th. That'll be 4 weeks from the April meeting.
Okay.
As a courtesy, should I just email the for people, Mr. Brandt, and tell him that we've moved the date to May 12th?
Yes, please.
And I'll follow up with Kurt and with
Okay.
Andy.
Yeah, maybe Andy won't mind, if it's the day, or you'll get a little more info from him about doing it. Yeah. All right. Who wants to move that we adjourn this meeting? Charlene,
I'll second.
Deb second. When I read your initials, Jonathan, I just think Jeb, even though.
Well, I just used that because that's how I was referred to at MIT. Actually, I was referred a lot of other bad ways, but that was the favorable one. Yeah, it was not JEB, it was Jeb.
Okay. My initial spell Sack.
Sack.
All right, I think we're adjourned.
We got to vote.
Oh, we got to vote. Oh, thank you. Amelia?
Yes.
Yes.
Jonathan?
Yes.
And Charlene?
yes.
I vote yes. All right.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good
All
night.
right. Good night, everybody.
I'll check.